Okay. So in translation, I don't know, like because as I'm telling you that we should teach beyond the text, so I would not be just adhering to translation method. Side by side, I would be telling you other things as well. Because when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you. I'm not teaching you. I'm discussing it with you. Okay. Now at this level, we don't teach. We talk. So I'm talking to you. So I'm giving you my experiences so that you can also be benefited the way I was benefited with the experiences of my teacher. When I teach something, suppose the teacher who taught me, say sailing to Byzantium, or say ancient mariner, then I would visualize the teacher. I would imagine the teacher, the way he taught that teacher. And you can add your own experiences, your own knowledge, since you have a wide knowledge available there with you on the internet. So in translation method, the teacher translates. Again, I'll just come back to the same thing, because yes, in translation method, the teacher translates every word, every phrase, and every sentence that he comes across in the book. This is what he does. That's why it becomes a very dull thing. If you're translating every word, every phrase, every sentence, it becomes dull. But this is how translation method is. So in translation method, what does the teacher do? He translates every word, phrase, and sentence that he comes across while teaching a text, a poem, a play, or say fiction. He also compares the structures of the foreign language with those of the mother tongue, the way we did. We talked about some idioms, we talked about some phrases, proverbs, and all. So what were we doing? We were having discussing the mother tongue equivalent of the English proverbs, English idioms. The method is therefore, since you're translating the structure, the syntax, the method is also known as grammar translation method. Okay, you can have grammar also before this, grammar translation method. What is it called? Grammar translation method. Because the grammar of new language is taught with the help of the grammar of the mother tongue. Means you learn the grammar of the English language, the target language, the second language, with the help of the grammar of the mother tongue, with the help of the grammar of Hindi. So Hindi is assisting you, helping you in learning the grammar of the target language. That is why it is called as grammar translation method. Okay? Yeah. Now, when I'm talking about translation method, that this is the oldest, this is the classical, and this was followed, say, around a century ago, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have advantages. It does have advantages. Now, I was talking about advantages also. I would like to discuss them that way. Suppose you get a question on discuss translation method of English language teaching. Suppose you get this question, discuss translation method of English language teaching. Then you're supposed to write the principles of translation method, the advantages of translation method, and even disadvantages of translation method. Like merits you will discuss first, and then you will discuss demerits also. Okay, these are the three things that we look for in your answer sheets. Okay, so here I can discuss a bit so that you can understand what is it, what are the advantages, what are the merits, and what are the demerits. And you can even further elaborate this answer, because it's not possible that I'm telling you each and every thing, or say discussing in a very elaborate way. Although I always discuss my topics in a very elaborate way, so that you don't need to say read other books, or say hunt for books or material there in your library or internet or on the internet. So listen to me. If you're listening to me, if you're taking them down, you can watch the video over and over again. If you don't understand something, I think that you will get sufficient material here in the video, and you don't need to further look for any material on it. So we are talking about advantages. What advantage do you think is the the biggest advantage that you have in teaching through translation method, well, I would say that it is an easy method. What is it? It's an easy method. It's very convenient. In this method, the child proceeds from known to unknown. Known to unknown because you know your mother tongue. So with the help of your mother tongue, you are learning the second language. So how are you moving? You're moving from the known to the unknown. He already knows his mother tongue. The child knows the mother tongue already. You know, like I am giving you examples because when I am discussing translation method, obviously, you know, translation method is followed at the earlier stages. So that's why I would say child. And if you happen to teach in some primary, at the primary level, say level 1, level 2, level 3, this is how you have. So I'm talking about the elementary level. If you're teaching at the elementary level, then you would teach a child through the translation method. Why? Because this is an easy method, this is convenient, and students easily understand. Why? Because they move from known to unknown. They already know their mother tongue, they already know L1, and they learn the L2 through L1. A child learns the English language through or with the help of L1. Okay. Yes, and words and phrases of the target language are quickly explained. You know, I was giving you examples also. It is very convenient, very easy for a teacher to explain words and images of the target language in Hindi. You can quickly do it. And because I was trying to give a definition of this, that was very difficult. I said kalam and they would understand. I said rumal and they would understand. I don't need to say that it's a square piece of cloth and used for wiping mouth or wiping face, right? Or say cleaning or wiping your hands and all. No, you don't need to. So words and phrases of target language are quickly explained. Translation, you must say, is the easiest way of explaining the words and phrases of the foreign languages. Foreign languages, any language, can be easily learned, or words can easily be learned. I know so many words of Arabic, I know so many words of Persian. How do I know? I just know the words, okay? I know about the languages, but I cannot speak them, okay? But I know the words. I know many words in Sanskrit, yet I cannot speak. Yes, I can make out somebody is speaking. So you can learn the words and images of the foreign languages through with the help of translation method, I must say. Any other method of explaining vocabulary is time consuming. Okay, very time consuming. Translation saves a good deal of time. If you're translating words into your mother tongue, I mean the foreign words, the words from the target language into Hindi, your mother tongue, it is easier, it is convenient, it saves your time. Otherwise, like the time would be wasted if meanings are explained by giving definitions and explanations in the foreign language itself. Isn't it? So you don't need to give the explanation. You don't need to define the objects. You can just directly give them the Hindi equivalent, the mother tongue equivalent, and they would retain it, they would understand it. And so it's very easy. This method is very easy. Why? Because words and phrases can be easily explained to them in the mother tongue. And one thing more, I have noted down that there can be a rapid expansion in the vocabulary of the students also. Like, while I teach my first year students, compulsory English students, since they are not good at English, they come from Hindi medium schools, they come from rural background, what do I say? Okay, tomorrow you come, you will tell me 50 words, okay? You will tell me the meaning of 50 words in the mother tongue. So when they come, they won't tell me 50 words, at least they would be able to tell me 25 words. So vocabulary and grammar, are of primary importance in the translation method. Vocabulary and grammar, they are the primary, they are the primary things, okay? They are of primary importance. Vocabulary is often taught through list of words. A teacher can give a list of words. Like you can have a list of words: mat, cat, dog, apple, mango, pear, elephant. You can write the words and you can ask your students, okay, to give you the Hindi equivalent. And next day when you come, okay, these are the 50 words. Next tomorrow when you come after first write the meaning there in the mother tongue and tell the meanings in Hindi. Your vocabulary would be tested. And how does a teacher test his vocabulary? He asks, he speaks the word in English. He says elephant, and then the students would tell the Hindi equivalent, the mother tongue equivalent. Like if he happens to give a description and define it, well, it's a very huge animal. It has got a very big trunk. It has got very big teeth. This is going to be very time consuming. You can understand, isn't that? So this is a good advantage. It's a very big merit, in fact. Like your vocabulary, they can be a rapid increase in your vocabulary. The translation thus helps in the rapid expansion of vocabulary of the students, as it avoids difficult definitions or lengthy explanations. Students get the exact meaning of words. I would say that it is the easiest case, the way of expanding vocabulary. And not only students' time is saved, even teachers' labor is also saved. Teachers' labor is saved. This method is very easy for the teachers. This method is very easy for the teachers to follow there in the classroom. He doesn't need to put in much labor. He does not have to think of the ways and means to explain the words. If you're teaching through direct method, then because you cannot explain things in Hindi, then you will have to adhere to English. You have to adhere to English words, English synonyms and all. And it's not that easy, for an every teacher to give English synonyms in the same language, synonyms in the foreign language, or give antonyms in the foreign language. But if you're teaching through mother tongue, then you can give, or you can give the Hindi equivalent very easily. Teacher does not need to think of the ways and means to explain the words. It does not require the teacher to make use of audiovisual aids. When you're teaching through direct method, then you make use of audiovisual aids. But if you're teaching through the translation method, you don't need the audiovisual aids. You don't need the projector, the PPTs and all. No, you don't need. You can do without them. This is one factor which explains the popularity of this method. This method is very popular. Why? Because we do not have these gadgets available there in our colleges, in our schools and all. Since we do not have these gadgets available, we have to teach without them. And which method is the easiest then? The translation method is the easiest. So it saves teachers time. The method suits even average and below average teachers. Because you must have seen, even our teachers, teachers who learn English, who learn the foreign language through Hindi medium. If the medium section was Hindi, then they are not good at communicative skill. They are not good at spoken English. So they find the translation method easier. Yes. So I was discussing that it is easy. It's a convenient method. Words and phrases are easily explained. It saves time. Okay, it saves time of the teachers. Even average or say below average teachers can easily handle it. Or say it makes use of the child's knowledge of the mother tongue. This is very important. Like in direct method, you do not make use of the child's mother tongue, but this method, the translation method, we make use of the child's knowledge of his mother tongue. What are we discussing? We are discussing advantages. Okay. We are discussing advantages of translation method, and they are in fact great advantages, great merits of this methods. Like grammar of the foreign language is taught by comparing it with the grammar of the mother tongue. As I said, S plus V plus O and S plus O plus V, as you have in L2 and L1, you can tell the similarities and dissimilarities. Yes, in the sentence structure and in words and all. Like unlike some other methods like the direct method, which makes no use of the student's knowledge of his mother tongue, the translation method makes use of, I must say, a profuse knowledge of the mother tongue of the students is being used in the translation method. If you're teaching through translation method, then you're making a use of profuse knowledge of, okay, a very big knowledge, a very huge knowledge of the mother tongue of the students, thus making them feel comfortable. The students feel comfortable at the initial stages. If you're talking them in Hindi, their own mother tongue, they feel comfortable. Like suppose, in fact, when you hear somebody speak your language, you feel comfortable. While I just tell you, I would like to share my experience here. While I was doing my +2 from Trivandrum, which language is spoken there? Malayalam is spoken there. Everybody speaks Malayalam, either Malayalam or English, I must say. I would hardly find anybody speaking Hindi. And if, by chance I came across somebody speaking Hindi, I used to feel very elated. Okay, very elated. Why? Because when you listen to somebody speaking your language, you feel very good. So, I must say that the way I felt while I was there in a non-Hindi speaking state, people speaking my language, my mother tongue, I think the young ones, the students at the initial stage feel the same joy, same thrill, same delight when they listen their teacher speaking their mother tongue. So it makes use of the child's knowledge of his mother. It's a big advantage that way. Yeah, the translation method makes use of knowledge of the mother tongue. This is what I was telling you, and the students feel comfortable as a result. Providing a mother tongue equivalent as meaning of a new word in English is easier for the teacher than contextualized or oral presentation. I told you, if I try to tell them meaning, say in the contextualized meaning, or I try to define them, then that is going to be difficult. Okay, but if I'm giving them the exact mother tongue equivalent, then it is easier for them to comprehend, to understand. For example, like adjectives such as beautiful. Now, if I'm asked to tell the synonyms, I can tell because by the grace of Almighty, I know synonyms, beautiful. I can tell them. But every teacher might not be able to give the meaning of beautiful, or say lovely, or say honest, or say charming. Now, these are the words, honest. If I'm asked, okay, honest. Now, if it is difficult to define the word honest that way. Honest is the person who doesn't steal. Honest is the person who doesn't tell a lie. Honest is the person who is virtuous. So this is how I'm telling. So I'm defining it. But if I say honest means imandar, okay, just one word I'm telling, and a student understand it. Okay, he has a satisfaction that he has understood the meaning. And same I can say about the abstract words, for example, like advice. What should I say advice? Well, advice is now I'm just fumbling for a word, the right words. And if I simply say, well, advice means salah, advice means mashwara. Okay. And so if I know, then I would say, well, advice means suggestion. Okay. Or say success. Now success, this will be very difficult to define the word success. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to give English equivalent also of success. So what do I say? I say safalta. Success means safalta. I would say success means kamyabi. So this is very easy. Do you not find that it's so easy if you are using mother tongue? Or say delight, for example. Delight. Now, I know, so I would say, well, suppose if I'm telling it to you, if I happen to tell you and you don't know the meaning of delight, then I would say, well, it means joy, it means thrill. I can tell this. But for an average teacher, it's not easy to tell the exact synonym of delight. So what would you say? Delight means anand, delight means prasanta, delight means khushi. This is easy. Or say cowardice. Cowardice again, cowardice. How would you tell the meaning, the English equivalent? You would be like, like looking for the word, trying to remember it, but the word won't come, the exact synonym won't occur to your mind. As a result, what would you do? You will tell him, I mean, if you're teaching through translation method, well, cowardice means डर. Okay, डरपोक. Coward is डरपोक. To डरपोक होना is cowardice. So these are just a few words, like which put the teacher in difficulty to convey the exact meanings. Teacher finds himself in difficulty, in a problem, in a fix, as what to tell them, because his duty is to tell them the exact meaning. So it's not that easy. And if you're teaching through translation method, then your time is saved and you can give the mother tongue equivalent. So this method makes use of mother tongue equivalent. You keep revising also. What are the things we discussed in advantages? That it is an easy method, words and phrases of the foreign language, that the foreign physiology is easily explained, it saves time, it suits average and below average teachers, and it makes use of the mother tongue of these students. So, like when you read something, try to remember also. Try to revise it there in your mind so that you do not forget. And another advantage, which is a big advantage, which is a big merit, is that comprehension is easily tested. Through translation method, you can test the comprehension of your students. Like, the students' comprehension of English, especially at the early stages, can be easily tested by asking them to tell in the mother tongue what they have learned so far. Okay, what they have learned. Suppose you are told a story in English and you're told the translation also, then you can ask him or her, well, what have you understood? You can ask to a group, what have you understood? Have you understood the story? Okay, come on. If you understood, tell in your mother tongue. As simple as that. So if they have understood, they would tell you in the mother tongue. So words and sentences can be written, or you can write them on the board also. They can be written. Okay, and they can be asked the Hindi version of those words. The way I was telling you, like you can write, if you're teaching at the early stage, you can write the small words there. You can write mat, cat, bat, rat, and all the rhyming words. Okay, what do they mean? Since they occurred, these words occurred. So you were teaching a lesson. You were teaching, say, Panchatattva tales, Aesop's fables, and they occurred there in your book. Then you can ask them, well, what do these words mean? They can give you Hindi equivalents of them. So you can check their comprehension. You can check whether your students have understood or not. So through translation method, you can very well check it. Words and sentences, as I said, can be written in the foreign language on the board, and students can be asked to give their Hindi version. And the most important thing, I would say, the biggest merit that I find of translation method, is that it improves your translation skills. It improves your translation skills. Like at the advanced levels, students can be asked to translate the entire chapters in their mother tongue. Since they already know Hindi, they already know English, they already know their mother tongue, okay, and they have improved because they have learned many things which have helped them to know their own language while learning the second language, while learning English, the foreign language. Thus, the translation method not only helps in testing comprehension of your students, but it also gives a good practice in translation. The students acquire a good command in both the languages. Okay, they attain a good command. They acquire a good command in both the languages, L1 and L2. Because all the time, they are listening to their teacher translating from English into Hindi, all the time he does it, or from Hindi into English. Then what happens? Their translation skills are improved. If you happen to ask somebody from a public school, a child who is taught thoroughly in English, or where the medium of instruction is English, then he won't be able to translate. Students who are taught through translation method, who learn English through a translation method, for them it is very easy to translate from from the English language into Hindi language, or vice versa, from Hindi to English. And in first year compulsory English, I mean in your own university, now translation is introduced. Translation introduced because students find it very easy, and for teachers also it's easier for teachers also to teach them, because they don't need to, like, read a lesson or explain the lesson into Hindi or into English. There you have they get 10 words. The words are there in Hindi, and they are asked to give the English equivalent of those words. And sometimes they have words in English and they are asked to give the Hindi equivalents. And they also have sentences. They get 10 sentences, and out of those 10 sentences, they are asked to translate five sentences in English. Okay, the sentences are Hindi, and they are asked to translate them into English. Okay, but this can be both ways. So your translation skills are improved if you are taught through the translation method. So these were a few merits. These were a few advantages of translation method, and which are really good ones. But there are some disadvantages also. There are some